okay, so maybe you can pull up this tweet, Alex, that I got there. Just my tweet from last night about like you can see it. Like you can see the goals coming. It feels like so many goals against the Canucks. You can see it 30 seconds ahead of time. Right? Like you're like, oh gee, like once they get like 5 or 6 passes on a cycle, they almost get scored on every single time. And it's just like these long possessions in their zone just don't get broken up. They don't get broken up because and that's the thing, like Stillman talked about, they're stuck in man formation here. And they can't seem to just be able to make a play, like get aggressive and make a play. And Alex, I guess we can get you to run the Elias Pettersson audio whenever you can. Elias Pettersson talked about it when I asked him about how to kind of break up these long possessions. Let's hear what Elias Pettersson had to say. I think my question's in here as well. Go ahead, Alex.
With those long possessions that the other team's having, is it about somebody making a play, or do you think it's about how you guys are rotating? Like, how do you break up those long possessions?
Good question. I don't know if we need to have a first guy who goes to a guy if he needs to try kill the play right away, or I think we do. But if we need to like kind of shrink the zone to kind of like trap them, I don't know. I mean, we play good defensively most of the time, and sometimes when we don't, we really get stuck and they get long shifts and we get tired and they get momentum. So when those situations happen, we just got to find a way to kill the play quicker.
Is there a way to like do zone compared to man-to-man in that spot to cut those zone things?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy when you can look on video and then see, okay, we're going to do this time, and the next game, it's different plays happening. I mean, we can't think out there; it's just got to happen with our habits. So, yeah, again, it's been a lot like not knowing what their answer is, but it's just got to be better.
And that was basically the theme of Pettersson's availability yesterday, was just not knowing the answer. And that's why I asked him, like, hey, listen, like, I know that today we heard Stillman talk about the man-to-man, but this isn't the first time we've heard it discussed. And a lot of teams just run a zone defense or a combination of both. I think JT Miller talked about it today when I asked him about it. And it was like a man and a half, sort of like a half zone, but also man. So like when you really, it's kind of about like making rotations. Like you think about like in football, when DBs are like defending receivers and they cross on you, and you have to be just aware enough to know when to switch your man, but you're still kind of staying in man, but you're also like working a zone as well, just from how the play develops in front of you. If the Canucks are just forced to be chasing the whole time in man to man, that is going to be something that hurts them. And I also think that also pulls away from defensemen being able to control the crease and be able to just keep a little bit of defense. Like in a zone, you can always have two defensemen like around your crease clearing it out, right? It doesn't, like, if his man is in the crease, it doesn't really matter in zone because it's like somebody's going to be there. So it looks, I don't know, like we've heard so much about structure, we've heard so much about it, and I wonder if that's the difference. Like, is that what Jim Rutherford wants? Does he want to see his defense be played in a zone formation? Like, I'd have to look more into it of like what teams he's had in the past,
Yeah.
and even like those Pittsburgh Penguins teams, were they in zone? Like, is that why the defense worked for them, even though they didn't have a strong defense core? Like, look at those teams that went to the Stanley Cup. I mean, not full 1 to 6 great defensemen throughout. They had Chris Letang and I think even missed him for one of the playoff runs that they had really long too. Like, maybe that's the thing, that when you hear about structure, that might be what we're hearing from Jim Rutherford when he comes out and talks about it. Because I think the players are, and Pettersson said it there interesting in the quote, was like he tried to like just kind of, he didn't have an answer for it, but he also said, like, we don't want to be in a spot where we have to think. Right. And if you're comfortable in your structure, you shouldn't have to think. It should be automatic where you're going, who you're covering, which zone you're all over. And I think that might be the thing that we hear about with structure a little bit. Is like, put them in a spot where they don't have to think and can just react to what you see as the outcome around you. That would be a good thing for this Canucks team. And that's the thing I think we talk about with structure so much. It's just last couple of days, it's been interesting to hear the quotes from some of the players talking about it and finally start to like key in on this talk of structure, because it felt like a joke for a long time. We were just saying, oh, structure this, structure that. But like, I don't know. The quotes over the past few days have been kind of more about the actual things that are happening with structure. It's strange. There's been a shift, I think, over the past few days here in the locker room about that.